Morning, anything small. Right.
Standing ovation. Where's Jimmy? She's not going to give you a send off? Okay. It's a good set. Those placards were all like blowing it around.
Randy, did you get everything then?
I think it's interesting.
Yeah, she hasn't called me back yet. No, she's going to call me in the morning. Hopefully it'll all be in order.
Yeah.
Mark and I found it goes all the way back to when Becker was in the development. So I went back and found all the stuff, and we were eligible for, if 88% of what we spent comes up to 30,000, we're eligible for 30. We already got paid 15, so rather than take the 5, I'm going to go for the extra 15. So Mark and we traced it all back to Rebecca's time, and we knew which project it was. We have 2 grants for 30,000, so it's kind of confusing for a while to figure out which was which.
Literacy event. Season's readings with a surprise display there.
Excuse me?
Did you go to St. Pete's?
No. I went to public.
Yeah.
My kids
Yeah.
went to St. Pete.
It's the last
They closed it when my daughter was in there. It was a bummer. We raised over $100,000 and who knows where it went. We had
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this Common Council meeting of the City of Dunkirk to order on this 17th day of December 2024 at 5:30 p.m. Clerk, please conduct the roll call.
Councilmember Laskowiak. Here. Councilmember Yurko. Here. Councilmember Nichols.
Here.
And Councilmember at Large Weiser.
Here, thank you, clerk. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. Next, we have the certification of prior meetings.
This is to certify that an official copy of the minutes of the Common Council meeting of Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024 was presented to the mayor on Friday, December 13th, 2024. Pursuant to Section 3.03 of the Dunkirk City Charter, all items presented to the mayor are now in full force and effect. In witness whereof, I have here to set my hand and seal of the City of Dunkirk this 17th day of December 2024.
Is there a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Nichols, seconded by Councilmember Luskowiak. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Luskowiak.
Aye.
Councilmember Yurko.
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Weiser.
Aye, the minutes are approved as presented. We now move to privilege of the floor.
Privilege of the floor. Privilege of the floor shall be extended to any person appearing for themselves, in which case each individual appearing shall be limited to 3 minutes, and to any person representing any group who shall be limited to a maximum of 5 minutes. The privilege of the floor is reserved for members of the public to speak on any subject pertinent to the affairs of city government. The city clerk shall have the duty of maintaining such time limits. The chair may determine in their discretion whether individuals are speaking for themselves or representing groups. The chair shall maintain good order and may require any speaker to cease speaking if remarks are made in bad taste or are slanderous or not germane. The time limits specified shall be adhered to, except that the chair may allow any person speaking to complete a statement or a thought started before such time expires, and a longer time may be allowed by the chair with approval of the majority of the council.
Okay, prior to opening the privilege of the floor, I'd just kindly remind everyone that this is not a forum for back and forth with council, the mayor, or administration. Rather, it's an opportunity for members of the public to share their thoughts on the record. So with that said, privilege of the floor is now open. If there are any members of the public who wish to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, and address the council.
Hello, Council. My name is Patricia Shanslin. I live in the 4th Ward. I know everything we can't change from past and prior administrators, and for that, the taxpayer will now pay. I do appreciate everybody who is on the current council doing their due diligence to protect us. I have spoken with Erica to an extent in the past, and I know it's been many, many long overdue years since our properties have been reevaluated. My question becomes, now that we're going to be looking at a 84% minimum tax hike, that's based on our old assessment. Now we have a new assessment, prior, I'm under the impression, slowly down the road here coming in, where all of our properties will now be reassessed and increased again in taxes. My question to council is, while we can't change the past, how much of this 84% could have been avoided had people listened to Erica many, many moons ago when she brought this to people's attention then? Maybe now, those of us that are barely keeping our head afloat now and risk losing properties over such a hike would not be in this position. Thank you, Erica, for your service.
Thank you, Ms. Shanslin. Is there anyone else wishing to speak?
Good evening, good people. My name is Brody Loftus. I live at 605 Roosevelt Avenue. And I basically just have 4 questions for you in relation to that tax hike that you were saying. Is it based on the current assessments? And are you going to increase them? Is it up to 84% of that assessment? Or is it increasing 84%? And is this a campaign for a lot of you to not be reelected? And if you could, please indicate in your minutes and to the public so that we can be reminded when the next election for mayor and all other positions are. And where and how can we see this budget? Because I keep hearing about budget proposals. We get hear word of mouth or see it in the paper, But I've been on your website, City of Dunkirk, and it's not in the finance section. There's old budget proposals from like 23, 2020, I think. I don't know. I think it needs attention if you're willing to communicate with the public as to where all of this money is going so that we can see it. Maybe a freelance accountant can come up with a better solution than what has been presented so far. I don't know. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Loftus. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Hi, I'm Tracy Promber, the John. I live at the Point. My question is, there's been discussions on joining the police departments and the fire departments. What is this going to do for jobs? Are people going to lose their jobs? What's going to happen with the volunteers, and how is this going to benefit us?
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else wishing to speak? Going once, twice. Privilege of the floor is now closed. Next, we move to communications from the mayor, including disapproval messages. Mayor Dovias.
Thank you, Councilman. First, I'd like to just thank the council and the public for being patient with all of us here at City Hall while we've been working through the snow removal and cleanup. Obviously, an 84% tax increase is not what any of us were hoping for. It is clearly down from the 108 that I presented. We did work very long and tirelessly on this. These decisions were not made lightly. They are going to affect every single one of us that are on this council and myself, including members of our administration. This is a compilation of decades of mismanagement of funds. And, you know, should have been raises, and I know that there are other council members and probably the current council would agree with me that should have been made. We should have had tax raises incrementally over the last several years to prevent something like this from happening. Unfortunately, it didn't. You know, 2025 is going to be a rebuilding, restructuring year for the city of Dunkirk. We will be looking at consolidating services and merging together with the village of Fredonia, which should give us some cost relief as far as our police and fire departments go. But that's going to take more than a year. We need at least a solid year to start looking at those mergers and the potential outcome from that. With that said, I'm hoping everybody has a happy holiday, although I know that everybody is angry right now. Again, I want to give a shout out to the police department, the fire department, and DPW for keeping up with the snow removal efforts from this last round of storms. And finally, last but not least, I would just like to take a moment to acknowledge that today marks the final council meeting for Chief Edwards, who will be working his last shift on December 27th, 2024. Chief Edwards has demonstrated exceptional leadership and unwavering dedication to our community. It has been a pleasure working with the chief, whose wisdom and experience have been invaluable to our community. As Chief Edwards prepares to begin his new chapter in life, we extend our heartfelt appreciation for his years of service and wish him a happy, well-deserved retirement. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor, for those kind words, and I just have a few short things because I found out today that I'm going to have an opportunity on my last day to thank everybody I can, hopefully. But just a few things here. I'd like to, again, thank the Mayor, the administration, council, all of the fellow department heads for your support, past administrations for the support of the fire department and the support of me as the fire chief of the city. It's been my honor and privilege to serve the Dunkirk Fire Department and the citizens of Dunkirk for just over 39 years, 19 of those years as the fire chief. proud of the accomplishments that we've achieved in the department. And I say we because it takes an entire department, it takes city staff, and so on. I worked alongside many talented and dedicated members. I learned from many peers and mentors over the years. In my time, I was educated every day, and if you don't take every day and learn something new and open yourself up to new ideas and trying to learn and advance, then you're not doing your job. My leadership position here, there were several challenges over the years, several years where we had very lean budgets. We went through a lot of cutbacks years ago in the fire department, but we overcame those things, working together, staying strong. I have, like I said, many, many thank yous. I'm not going to get to them all tonight, and I probably missed plenty of them, but I'll have that opportunity. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank a couple people here tonight in the administration, a couple of department heads that I'd really like to thank. Number one is Randy Woodbury. I've worked with Randy pretty much the entire time I've been a chief, and Randy mostly in his capacity as the Public Works Director. And you don't realize how much the departments have to work together to achieve a lot of the things that we do on an everyday basis, not only when we have a large incident or fire, but the everyday operations of removing snow, getting the fire stations cleared out, the functions of the city plumber, the city electrician, the streets crews clearing up trees after storms. That's all public safety. It's not just police and fire, but it's also DPW. And Randy has worked with us all along the way. We've had several large events that we've put on in the city, and it took a lot of work by all of the departments. And the one thing that I'm very proud of is the achievement that we did collectively, but I would say Randy mostly, is the improvement in our water system. Without water, you can't put out fires. And Randy was determined that we needed to improve our water system, improve our hydrant system, and he was one of the first DPW directors that actually worked directly with the fire department to figure out the plan to do that. And I can say when I first started in the fire department, I bet you 70% of the city had water flow issues, that we didn't have adequate fire protection as far as water went. Now it's virtually 0% of the city for over those 30 years of working on that system. So thank you, Randy. And the other one that's actually, he made a return appearance tonight because I see him out there, is my good friend, Chief Ortolano. Chief and I have worked together since I started in the fire department. He was on the police force. We worked together hand in hand out on the streets, and then again in our leadership roles. And he is a true professional. He's a very good friend of mine. We forged a relationship between the police and the fire department that is second to none. We work very well together, and thank you, Chief. I appreciate you. He looks so relaxed back there, with a smile on his face, but everybody knows that the chief actually wanted to be a firefighter, but he did a hell of a job as a police chief. But thank you, Chief. And then the commissioner is out there, and the commissioner is my wife. And I work with some tough bosses in my life, some tough mayors in my life, okay? Worked with 5 mayors, I think. But none of them are tougher than my wife, Chris. So she softened the blow for me when times got tough. But thanks for standing behind me, and congratulations. She retired also, so congratulations to her. And A lot of my family is back there, and without family, backing me up, and I appreciate them because they do sacrifice a lot. When you get into a job like this, there are a lot of sacrifices. So thank you to all of them, and most of all, thank you to the citizens. Thank you to the public for entrusting me to be your fire chief. It's been a great career. This is what I've always wanted to do, be a fireman. Since I was a little kid hanging around fire headquarters on Eagle Street. And I got to achieve that, and I consider myself very lucky, and I even more lucky that I got to do it in my hometown of Dunkirk. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Anything further, Mayor?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Next, we'll address communications from the public and petitions.
Request from Christopher Rodriguez on behalf of Kids at Promise, requesting to have Fill the Glove Donation Day on Saturday, December 28th, 2024, at intersections of 4th Street and Central Avenue, 5th Street and Central Avenue, and Doty Street and Route 60 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Any discussion, council? Hearing none, do I have a motion to refer to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions? Moved by Councilmember Luskowiak, seconded by Councilmember Yerico. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Luskowiak.
Aye.
Councilmember Yerico.
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Weiser.
Aye, motion carried.
Notice of claim from Charles Rorich of 205 West 2nd Street for damages done to his basement allegedly due to a plugged city sewer line.
Any discussion, council? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to refer to the Law Department and Department of Public Works.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Nichols, seconded by Councilmember Luskowiak. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Luskowiak.
Aye.
Councilmember Yerico.
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Weiser.
Aye, motion carried.
We have a walk-in communication.
Okay, go ahead and introduce that.
It's a walk-in from December 13th, 2024. It's the Dunkirk School 3, a literacy event for elementary students called Seasons Readings, and they have a surprise sleigh ride.
Okay, considering council approved this via email already, I'll go ahead and mark that as received and filed. We'll now move to reports of standing committees, boards, and commissions. Councilmember Luskowiak.
Yes, I want everyone to know I have been talking and listening to residents in all walks of life before and after the final budget decision. Even though there is much that went into the demise of our city's financial woes, and I am not blaming anyone specifically, however, criticism is due and done so from me in an honest effort for all of us to be better. I want everyone to know I tried to seek cutting of costs, and I saw many opportunities to bring about a better budget, but as a whole, the council did the best we could do this year. There will be work to do this next year. The council as a whole, along with the chair, are ready to work in order we can lower the tax rate for 2026. Randy, residents that live around the Lakefront Boulevard believe Lakefront Boulevard should be closed during the winter. The residents observe the drivers around there and the danger they are subjecting themselves to. Why is it not closed for the winter?
Yeah, happy to address that. Mayor Dobiash has challenged DPW and the first responders to keep it open as long as we can this year for a change. It's a very active area even in the wintertime. As long as the waves stay down, it's okay. And we were able to keep up with it for the last couple of storms because the winds are relatively calm. We'll monitor that. It's an idea. It isn't set in stone. We have all of the stones available down by the wastewater plant to reclose it like we have in more recent years when we've had some 19-foot wave events that go over the wall, bring driftwood, and it becomes dangerous. If it should turn to that, then we will make a change and we will close it. But I learned about, that Chief talked about doing some research. Sometimes I go down to the Fillmore Library and talk to the old fishermen there. And they've told me that in the old 50s and 60s, there weren't 19-foot waves coming over. Those are relatively new. So these big storms we're having could come back, and we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll be ready to respond.
Thank you very much. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Councilmember Yuriko.
Mike, congratulations. Happy for you. Chris, congratulations. Thank you to DPW again for the second round of snow blast, taking care of our roads. Your work does not go unnoticed. And Merry Christmas to everybody.
My turn? Okay. Chris, would you like to reiterate the rules and regulations on alternate parking on the streets so that our DPW can have a superb handle on getting the snow removal? And where is it, and Randy might want to team in on this one, the priorities of street plowing or sidewalk plowing? Thank you.
So for alternate parking on the odd days, you need to park on the odd side, and for even days, you need to park on the even side. Just be careful on the end of some of the months. You got 31 and 1, so you got to stay there for 2 days. So,
And the time frame, Chris?
It changes at 5 o'clock. We want everybody to change as close to 5 o'clock as possible.
And they will be ticketed if they do not, if they move, say, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yes, it will be ticketed.
Thank you. And it just, sorry, to echo Abby and Natalie and the Chief, our crews have done a remarkable job. Getting rid of plowing, the first storm was really an obstacle and a half. And when we got blasted, it was heavy. And to make all the matters worse, our guys still did trash removal, plus doing the plowing and making it safe. And our residents did abide by, for the majority, staying off the streets when there was a driving ban, which was what we need to do. Sorry, everybody's has a congestion of some sort. I would just like to touch base on the lady that just spoke about their reassessment. Right now, a reassessment in the city of Dunkirk would be between $1 and $2 million. We do not have that kind of surplus to even think about it. It can be future plans down the road. I've worked with Erica on this as well. We've been discussing this for a couple years now, but until we can generate some revenue to do that, it's not going to happen. So please rest assured that you're not going to be reassessed and then slammed with an 84% tax increase. We are, as a council, we're not responsible for creating this. So to be threatened, which I take it as an insult, that they're not going to vote for us if we choose to run again. We worked our tails off to get it down to where it is a manageable amount of money to be paying. I'm a senior, I have to come up with it as well. There's business owners that have to come up with it, otherwise they'll have to close. We're working on alternate solutions. The mayor's working with us. Nick has been wonderful coming to grips with everything. He's been a financial wizard. We've lost numerous amounts of sleep on this and how we can disappoint the people that elected us, that we're supposed to be helping them, working for them, and get this to dump on them with this. We did not create it. We have to dig ourselves out of a hole. Thank you.
Thank you. I just echo my thanks to Chief Edwards on a fantastic career and really appreciate everything you've done for this community. Thank you so much and enjoy your well-deserved retirement. Before I introduce City Assessor Munson to speak about the implications of the 2025 tax levy for residents, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the concerns that many in our community have expressed since Council passed the budget this past weekend. Obviously, this budget represents a significant adjustment, and I understand the frustration and the worry that residents are feeling. I want to emphasize that Council did everything in our power to reduce the burden while maintaining essential services. Over the course of the process, we identified more than $1.1 million in savings, but several factors limited our ability to go further. Among the most significant were the city's contractual obligations, the requirement from the Office of the State Comptroller to include an additional $1 million in this year's expenditures for interest repayment tied to our debt financing, and our inability to include projections on added revenues in water and wastewater due to insufficient and conflicting information. Looking ahead, Council is already working on two major revenue-generating ideas that will help reduce future tax burdens. First, we plan to take a very careful look at our declining block rate for water and wastewater in an effort to bring our utility revenues more in line with the city's actual operating costs at no added expense to the average household. The second is a study to examine the potential consolidation of Dunkirk and Fredonia's police and fire departments, a move that could significantly reduce duplicative services while maintaining or even improving public safety for residents in both communities. These efforts will require, obviously, thorough analysis and collaboration, but they represent proactive steps toward creating a better financial future for Dunkirk. I think it's also worth noting that while the newly adopted tax rate of $33.82 per $1,000 of assessed property value is a substantial increase, it remains lower than the rate in neighboring Fredonia and a number of similarly sized municipalities across the state when accounting for equalization rates. The city assessor has graciously agreed to provide additional context on how the new tax rate may affect residents and to share any insights into what this change might mean for individual households. So I'd like to thank her for offering her expertise to help our community better understand these changes. Assessor Munson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Councilman. First and foremost, to our residents, I see you, I hear you, I appreciate the calls, I appreciate the emails, social media. Some of you have found me on Facebook. Please reach out. I can't stress enough how much I don't want our residents to have to live in fear. There's a lot of misunderstanding and there's a lot of misinformation. Our percentage is such a high number that it's automatically torturing a lot of our residents. I want to help alleviate some of that. If you have questions regarding your assessment or what the ramifications of this are for you, your family, your household, please do not hesitate to reach out to my department. My direct line is 716-366-9836. You can also email me at emunson@cityofdunkirk.com. I'm on social media, on Facebook, as Eric Munson, City of Dunkirk Assessor. There are a lot of numbers. I don't want to confuse this anymore. So I don't know that I'll go into that, but if anybody after the meeting has questions about your personal numbers, feel free to meet me downstairs on the first floor in my office. And that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Assessor Munson. Appreciate that. And I just, again, reiterate, we wish everybody a happy holiday season, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year. Moving on, it appears there's no new business or pre-filed resolutions. Unfinished business or pre-filed resolutions. Is there any new business to be discussed this evening? Okay, hearing none. I understand there is a need for an executive session to discuss matters of personnel. Is that correct, Mayor?
Correct.
Thank you. Is there a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing matters of personnel? Moved by Councilmember Nichols, seconded by Councilmember Luskowiak. Before we vote on this, I'd like the public to know we will not be taking any public action after we conclude the executive session, so there's no need to stay unless you'd like to. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Luskowiak.
Aye.
Councilmember Yuriko.
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Weiser.
Aye, the motion carries. We will now enter into executive session. For the record, the time is 6 p.m. I'd ask that the Mayor, Attorney Raimondo, and the Council please convene in the Mayor's conference room.
I didn't drive myself here, so I don't have to keep it around.